All right, let's be real. We've all been there. Stuck, no inspiration, nada. You're staring at your screen, scrolling through every sound you got, and still nothing. If that sounds like you, don't sweat it. You're definitely not alone. In this video, I'm going to share some solid tips to kickstart your creativity when it's totally MIA. Whether you've got a project that's stuck or just need to break out of that blank phase, we're about to get your brain back in the game. Let's get into it. First things first, we got to pick an acapella. I went with Pop Smoke's Dreaming. Classic vibe, right? It's in a sharp minor, so keep that in mind as we move forward. Grab an acapella that inspires you or fits the mood you're going for. All right, now that we've got the acapella, let's hunt for a sample that complements it. You want something that'll mesh well with Pop Smoke's energy, but still leaves room for your own twist. Once you've got your sample, it's time to tune it up. Since Dreaming is in a sharp minor, adjust your sample to match that scale. This part might take a little tweaking, but trust me, it's worth it. You'll feel it click when the sample and acapella start to blend perfectly. Once it's in key, we're ready to build around it. All right, quick tip. Let's make sure we've got the key locked down. I'm using Antares Auto Key here, so I just load up the acapella and bam! It confirms we're in A sharp minor. This is super helpful for making sure everything's aligned before we move on. Now let's arrange this sample. I like to break it down into sections for the intro, bridge, verse, and chorus. Here's a tip. Keep the intro simple to build anticipation and save the more complex parts for the chorus to hit harder. In the verse, try cutting some frequencies or layering a filtered version to keep it interesting. A smooth transition from each section will make the whole beat feel cohesive. All right, drums time. I'm using my drum kit Yefe for this one, and if you're interested, there's a link in the description. So, I started with the snare, but it felt a bit weak. By boosting the velocity, I gave it more impact and presence in the mix. That's a simple but effective trick if your snare isn't quite hitting right.
Cuz, what's cracking, cuz? Right, baby. Talk to me next. Look. Wait. Let me see something. Cuz, what's cracking, cuz? Right, baby. Talk to me next. Look. Perk. Dirty.
Next, I moved on to the hi-hats. For this beat, I'm keeping it simple. No need to overload with rolls, just enough to create that drill bounce. I also varied the velocity on a few notes to make it sound more natural. Hi-hats can make or break the groove, so don't be afraid to spend time here. After that, I added a second hi-hat layer, something drier, to accent certain spots. This gives the rhythm some extra texture without overwhelming the beat. Finally, I laid down the kicks. They're heavy and sync up with the 808s to lock in that drill feel. Kicks are where you want to feel the impact, so make sure they're sitting just right. And hey, if you're finding this tutorial helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give it a like, and tap the bell for notifications. Let's keep it going.
Cuz, what's cracking, cuz? Right, baby. Cuz, what's cracking, cuz? Right, baby. Talk to me next. Look, perk, dirty, perk. Cuz.
Now let's get into the 808s. Here's where you really have the chance to put your stamp on the beat. Start by matching the key. Our beat's in a sharp minor, so make sure your 808 follows. I like to start by laying down a basic pattern, something that complements the kick. But for drill, it's all about getting those slides and glides right. Don't be afraid to experiment here. You can pitch up the 808 temporarily to make sure it's in key before dropping it back down for that hard-hitting bass. Another tip is to listen for open spaces in the beat and throw in an 808 hit to fill the gap. The rhythm's got to be tight with the kicks, so test it out until it feels locked in. All right, time to wrap up the arrangement. I kept it pretty simple, just enough to show you how the track's structured. This way you can see where everything goes without it getting too crowded. Sometimes less is more, especially if the acapella is already carrying a lot of energy. Now we're onto the mix. I'm assigning each track to its own mixer channel to keep things organized and ready for processing. I've got some go-to presets in my Yefe drum kit, and they're designed to give each sound that extra polish without much extra work. If you grab the kit, you'll have access to these same presets, which can save a lot of time. Once I apply the presets, I go in and adjust the volume on each element to make sure nothing's overpowering the mix. Little tweaks here and there bring balance to the overall sound, so don't skip this step. Final touches are key. This is where the beat goes from good to pro. All right, here's the final product. Let's take a listen to the beat on its own first, so you can hear how everything blends together. Then, I'll add the acapella back in, so you can get the full effect of how it complements Pop Smoke's vibe. This is where all the hard work pays off, and you can really hear how each element plays its part. Let's roll.
That's the judge. Wait. That's it right. Let me see something. Cuz, what's cracking, cuz? Back baby. Talk to me next. Look, perk, dirty, perk, dreaming. On cloud nine. Know that I'm dreaming. Full, I'm leaning. Know that I'm leaning. Walking, dirty, got a whole lot of things, Neiman. I'm up in Neiman, some fat, poppy, lurking, scheming. Know that I'm scheming. I'm married to diamonds, got Nina's attached. Big body Benz, I got Trey in the back. Scope on the Glock in the head like a Mac. I can't fuck with these hoes cause these bitches is trash. I like my bitches classy. She suck on my balls, she nasty. She open her leg, gymnastic. She make it disappear, magic. Fishing Louis Vuitton, spice on my feet. Red bottoms when I walk in the street. Pop Smoke, I'm the one they wanna meet. Pop Smoke, they know I'ma bring the heat. Pop Smoke, they wanna fuck with the team. Pop Smoke, bad bitches, that's my thing. Pop Smoke, 11 carats on the ring. Pop Smoke, like a Mary Billie Jean. Perk.